This is Weekly Reset number 73. Things I'm committed to. So I woke up this morning and I was still feeling super tired. From 4th of July, we went to the beach and we got there like super early and left super late to me. What's late to me? And I really enjoyed myself. I had a good time hanging out with my family and being by the water and all that good stuff. And yesterday I went to work, but I got to leave early and rest a little bit. And today I just woke up and was super tired. So some things that I did to recharge included making myself some tea and oatmeal. I listened to a podcast episode. I listened to some music. I read a little bit. I cleaned a little bit. I cooked some potatoes. I took a shower. I conditioned my hair. And I prepared my talking points for this video. So here I am. And this week I've been thinking about how oftentimes when I'm sharing on these videos, and just anytime I'm sharing about myself with anybody ever, I get this feeling of being all mixed up. So especially if I'm saying something that's like really important to me, but also really like sensitive, in wanting to like to talk about it, I feel very anxious within myself and very mixed up. And I was just thinking this week about how valid that feeling is, that feeling of being mixed up and being or feeling like I'm all over the place, or like wondering if I make sense, that type of thing. I've said that a lot before, and I'm continuing to try and challenge myself to like be a little bit more sure and certain about the things that I'm saying. But I still feel that way, and I was like, that it makes sense that you would feel like you don't make sense, because there are some things that have happened that shouldn't make sense. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be like a normal thing. So for you to feel odd is actually kind of normal, so given the circumstances and things. So I also was thinking about how there are some areas in my life where I'm still like, I don't know what I feel, or if I feel anything at all, which is kind of scary. But I feel like I'm able to pinpoint the like that numbness and like that emptiness there a little bit better, because I've taken the time to like learn about myself a little bit more and ask questions of myself and my history and things. And I wanted to talk about that because I have a desire to continue to like reach out to people and talk to people about work, and talk about like my work experiences. And I want to continue to practice speaking well of myself, and that doesn't really come naturally to me, so I wanted to start off with with sharing my work history in chronological order, so that it will help me to feel a little bit more in control of like my narrative, and help me to remember, to help me later on to remember. So this will be fun. So my first job ever was at Universal Studios, and I was responsible for selling churros, nachos, Dodger dogs, and beer. And that was fun. I did that for a few months. And I was catching the bus and the train to get to Universal Studios and back. But I only did that for like that one season. After that, I was kind of over it because of the traveling back and forth. And I didn't have a car or anything. So after that, I worked at a postal shipping service center for 6 years, about 6 years. And that's where I was able to gain a big chunk of like my customer service experience. I had opportunities to talk to a lot of different types of people and help them with a lot of different types of things. And one thing I liked about working there was that there were a lot of like repeat customers. So I'd see a lot of like the same faces on a daily or weekly, monthly basis. And so I got to know a lot of people like on a first name basis. And at that time, most of the when I first was working there, I didn't have a car, so I would either walk down the street to where I lived or catch the bus. And so I'd see a lot of my customers as I was like walking back and forth or going to the store or whatever, because I lived in the area. So you know, people grew to like know me, and that was cool. After that, I started thinking about like going back to school. And so I was taking just a few classes at West LA College and trying to figure out my life and what I wanted to do professionally. I worked at this company that had like multiple e-commerce platforms. So they sold a whole bunch of different types of products, and people would call in to place orders, or they would make orders online, and I'd process them, and I'd answer like whatever questions they had about the products and pricing, and like renewals, because a lot of them were like subscription products. So I was responsible for renewals as well, and keeping up with inventory and making sure that payments were going through and things like that. I also after that job, I was going to school full-time, and I worked at the school bookstore and like a student store when I was going to West LA College. And then I transferred to Cal State Northridge, and I worked as a writing tutor for a little bit. And I also, what did I do after that? Once I graduated, I was working as a direct support professional. So I was working in like adult homes, helping clients. And then I was working as a caregiver, helping clients. And after that, I got in a really bad accident, and I didn't have a car for a while. So I had to switch gears as far as the work I was doing, because when I was caregiving, I was using my car to get to my clients and stuff. So it ended up getting really difficult to do that without the car. Though I was doing that for a little while. I was catching 2 buses and 2 trains to get from Hawthorne to Long Beach, where I was meeting with my clients and things. But yeah, after a little while, I had to find a job that was a little bit more local. So I got a job working at a law office, and I was working there for almost a couple of years. Maybe like, no, not a couple of years, like a year and some change or something. And then I didn't want to work there anymore, and I wanted to work as a substitute teacher, because they had more flexible hours. And I was doing that for like a few months, and then the pandemic happened, and I was unemployed for a little while, and then eventually I got another job at another law firm. Additional jobs that I don't actually include in my resume are, I worked at a bank for a little bit under a year, and for various reasons, I don't include that in my resume. And I also worked for a collections agency for like 2 days, which at the time I didn't know it was a collections agency. I was just very desperate to get a job, and the person who hired me did not ask me any questions, and I didn't ask her any questions really. She just asked me like if I was available, when I was available, and all that. And then I also worked at a hotel as a housekeeper for 2 days. Yeah. And then I couldn't make it on the 3rd day or something, and they let me go. So there have been periods where like I just didn't care as much about being committed to work, and then there have been other periods where I've just was trying to figure out how to like make more out of the role that I had, like how to advance within the particular industry that I was in. For example, when I was caregiving, I was like, okay, how can I like further develop this and like do more with this, right? So I was like helping with my clients, but then I was also like working in the office and like scheduling other caregivers, and like doing a little bit of like recruiting and things like that. So I wanted to like know all those experiences because like I said, throughout that whole, not throughout the whole time, but as I've grown, like I've wanted to like see like where else I could, or how else I could, you know, evolve like in the positions that I've had. From each experience, I've gained a little bit more perspective and like my identity and things like that. Like I've developed empathy and understanding, and being able to communicate a little better. When I went back to school, that was something that ended up being like one of my passions, is like being able to communicate better, to understand myself better. My interpersonal skills were extremely lacking, and I didn't even really know until, well, going back to school played a part in that. And yeah, so the experiences that I've had, I have struggled to like shape them and like express them in a way that makes them sound as important as they are, you know. A lot of the positions that I have listed, like they're low wage paying jobs, and there's a lot of like turnover and burnout, and it really shouldn't be like that, but that's what it is. And I want to, when I'm talking to people, when I'm talking to hiring managers and recruiters and things like that, I want to be able to talk about those experiences in a positive way. And something that I've been grappling with for a little while now is just seeing the good and the bad of my experiences, and just accepting that those things have made me, you know, like they've made the way that my brain works right now. They've made the way that I see the world right now, you know, whether I like it or not. Like I am a product of my environment, you know what I mean? And wanting to see the good in like my surviving, and my overcoming, and my resilience, and my vulnerability and stuff, you know, as it pertains to like my personal life and my work life, you know. So I was thinking about how a hiring manager will look at my resume, look at my job experience, and may not see the value in those things, you know. Like I'm not in control of like how people view me and like I understand that like we judge things in order to make sense of them, in order to put them in order, right? And to make sense of ourselves and where we stand and land like in the world. And we label things for the same reasons, because we want to understand. And it's not necessarily a bad thing for those reasons, you know, but coming from the places where I come from, you know, there aren't as many opportunities and open doors and acceptance and belonging, you know, in a lot of the spaces where I'm trying to enter. You know what I mean? I'm used to trying to barge my way into places where I don't belong, you know, and trying to say that I have a right to be here too, you know. Yeah, like I was thinking about how like where I've started professionally, right? Like I was getting paid $7 an hour when I started working, you know. And that ain't much, you know what I mean? So like my starting point is so it's completely different from a lot of other people's points where I don't know, trying to like connect with people who don't have my experience, you know, or like my background, that can be challenging and daunting. And like some moments makes me feel like, am I even gonna be able to do it? Like, am I, you know, is it possible even, you know? Yeah. So I also have been considering how the journey that I've been on to get to this point where I can say all the things that I'm saying right now has been a very long journey. And I am committed to not picking myself apart about it. I'm committed to embracing all the parts of myself. I'm committed to not exiling parts of myself or cutting off parts of myself. And I'm committed to not having an adversarial relationship with myself. And that can get tricky when I'm trying to talk about myself and my life, essentially, and putting my my history out there to other people. That can get really tricky because I can get in the mode of like wanting to deflect, wanting to minimize myself, you know. So I mean, it's so serious that like I am working with a career coach and just embracing the idea of like being confident and talking about myself in confident ways. Little small things that like I don't even notice or pick up on, like unless someone else like mentions it to me, you know. It's so many little small things, you know. That's why I actually really like making these type of videos and just sitting here and talking, so I can see my facial expressions and the tone of my voice and the awkward silences and pauses, you know. All those things are what have made me, you know. Like they're like who I am, you know. Like when I'm talking like this, and I'm even as much as I want to like improve and get better, I also want to acknowledge like how difficult it's been for me. Like the other day I was saying like how like when I'm like setting boundaries and enforcing boundaries, like I can simply say no, right? when the reality is that sometimes it takes a lot to get to that no. Sometimes it takes a lot to say no, you know. Sometimes I might say yes when I mean no, you know. And wanting to kind of heal like the root of that has been a journey for me. And so I just want to like love on those parts of myself that are like aware and improving and getting better, and not diminish myself and not think negatively about those parts of me, you know. Additional things that I'm committed to are telling the truth to the best of my ability and living in that truth. I'm committed to loving on my babies more better. I'm committed to recovery. I'm committed to trusting the process. I'm committed to the communities that I'm a part of. And I'm committed to continuing to create and cultivate space, safe space, for all of me to exist. And I thought about the confines of my car and the camera, and allowing the words to come out how they do, even if they're not congruent with my body at times, and understanding why that is. I'm committed to being assertive and confident in my speech. I'm committed to accepting even the words that I don't have yet. I'm committed to processing my pain and my grief. I'm committed to letting go. I'm committed to holding on. I'm committed to joy, and I'm committed to work. I'm committed to asking for help, and I'm committed to receiving in humility and with responsibility. I'm committed to love, to peace, to seeing the goodness and beauty in the big and small things. I'm committed to seeing where I've started, not as a deficit, but just a part of like my inheritance and the richness within that. And I'm committed to expressing the range of my emotions without apology. I'm committed to moving slowly at my pace and not needing to explain that. I'm committed to continuing to learn how to accept and embrace my shame. I'm committed to my boundaries. I'm committed to protecting my tenderness, my empathy, and my vulnerability. I'm committed to recording and sharing from a place of fullness, gratitude, and contentment. I'm committed to being ethical in my work, always seeking balance, and asking questions, and I'm committed to reminding myself that I am enough right now in this moment as I am, and that the way that I look, the way that I dress, and the way that I talk is just fine. And I'm committed to wearing my hair however I feel like it, and I'm committed to continuing to love on myself and lift myself up, because I know that in doing that, then I can extend that to my family and to others from an authentic place. And everything is how it's supposed to be right now. And sometimes I don't like that. Sometimes I want to rush, and I'm learning to be patient with myself, and I'm committed to treating myself with kindness no matter what.